Welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can design this barbing salon flyer on PixelLab. If you are new here, consider subscribing for more design tips and inspiration. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment below. And to my returning viewers, thank you so much for your continued support. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay, so before we start the design, we'll be heading over to Snapseed to edit the image we'll be using for the particular design. Okay, so this Snapseed interface, this is how the interface looks like. So you just tap on the center or this plus to select the image you want to edit. Okay, so we wait for it to load up. Okay, so this is the image you want to edit. This is the image you want to edit. Okay, and we'll be doing it very quickly. Let me make use of this brush tool so you can see. So we'll be coming over to this place, these tools. We'll come over to tools. Okay, we'll click on tools and we'll come over to this tune image here. We'll click on tune image. Okay, we'll be setting in or be editing the image. Okay, so just while clicking on the image, these options will display. Okay, so depending on the one we want to adjust. Okay, so we'll start with the first one, which is brightness. Okay, for the brightness, I'll just leave it at 0. Be leaving the brightness at 0. Then the contrast rather, we'll be increasing the contrast. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see this properly. Okay, we'll be increasing the contrast. Okay, so for you to increase, you just have to use your hand to move to the front or to the back depending. Okay, so as you can see, it's adjusting. Okay, let's just leave the contrast at 65. Okay, so let's go over to saturation. Let's just increase it a little bit. Let's leave it as 9. Then we'll go over to ambience and we'll be increasing the ambience a little bit. Okay, we'll be leaving the ambience as 15. Then highlights, we'll just go ahead to just leave it as 14. Then we'll be leaving, okay, let's go over to shadow and just leave the shadow as -2. Okay, we'll be leaving the other ones the way they are, and we'll click on this good. Okay, you see this good here, we'll click on it. After we're done with this, we'll click on this good. Okay, we'll come over to tools again. We'll come over to tools, and this time we'll be going over to black and white, which is here, this black and white. Okay, so we'll select the black and white and we'll be selecting dark. Okay, or let's leave it as contrast. Okay, let's adjust this a little bit to be leaving the brightness at 0. Okay, then the contrast, we'll be leaving the contrast as 32, or let's adjust this, let's readjust it to 16. Then the grain, which is the nose, let me zoom this so you can see. We'll just leave it as 10 and we'll click on this good again. Okay, so as you can see, we are gradually getting what we want. So if you long click on this image, you can see the original image. If you long click, you can see the original image, and this is what you've edited. Okay, so click on tools again. We'll go over to portrait. Okay, let me use this to show you. Okay, so we'll come over to this place, portrait. We'll come over to portrait. We'll just click on it and wait for it to load up. Okay, then we'll leave it at this eyes one. Then on the face spotlight, let's try increasing it a little bit to 23. Then the eye clarity, we'll just increase it to 100 or 68 depending. Then the skin smoothness, we'll be leaving it as 19. Okay, so after this is done, we'll just click on good. We'll click on good. Then we'll come over to this. Okay, we'll come over to this 3 dot at the upper right hand here. Okay, we'll just click on it. We'll come over to settings and we'll come over to this format and quality. We'll leave it as PNG. Okay, and we'll export this and we'll just click on save. Okay, so after we've done this, we'll return back to our PixelLab. Once we're in PixelLab like this, we'll first of all delete the default text. And the next thing to do now is to edit our image size, but we'll be leaving the size the way it is. Yes, then we'll come over to import and we'll be importing the image. Which is this. We'll just reduce this a little bit and we'll click on go to add. Okay, so once we've imported the image, we'll come over to crop. And we'll click on this place. To change the direction of the image. We'll just click on here, this place, and it has changed the direction. Okay, so we'll be leaving it here for now. We'll be leaving it here with your background for now like this. Then we'll come over to import the background we'll be using for this particular design. Okay, so this is the background. I'll just select a square ratio, which is this, and I'll be leaving, just adjusting it upwards like this, and I'll click on good. Okay, so I'll go over to layers. Okay, let me turn off the visibility of the image, and for the background we'll go ahead to just increase the size of the background like this. We'll increase the size, and let me just copy this. We'll copy this, so we have to, so this copied one, I'll just reduce it and I'll rotate it like this. Okay, then I'll come over to 3D rotate, and we'll be increasing the x-axis. We'll just be increasing the x-axis to 180, and I'll be placing this over here like this. I'll be placing it at the top right. Okay, so now we have something like this. We'll go over to layers, and we'll be locking the two backgrounds we imported. Okay, then we'll come over to shapes. We'll be adding the shape to this, and we'll come over to color. We'll be assigning a black color to this shape, and we'll just fill the shape to increase the size. We'll increase the shape to fill the entire image space. Okay, and after we've done that, we'll come over to opacity, and we'll just reduce the opacity a little bit. We'll be leaving the opacity as 30, or let's leave it as 40 for now, and we'll come over to layers to lock it also. Okay, so for the image, let's turn on the visibility. Okay, and we'll be clicking on the image and be taking it forward. Okay, let's see how it is. Okay, so we don't want this image with a black background, so let's quickly go over to our background remover to erase the background of the image. Okay, and we'll be saving this. So we'll return back to PixelLab. Okay, let me lock the visibility of this one. I'll go again to reselect the other image. So we'll go over to import, and I guess this is the image we saved now. Okay, this is it, and we'll just add it to the design, and we'll be increasing the size. Okay, and we'll come over to crop again. And the same thing we did for that other one. We'll be changing the position of this image by clicking here. Okay, and we have this. Okay, so for now we'll be placing this image here. I'll come over to layers, and we'll be locking the image of this man here. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing now, we'll go over to shape to add a shape to this, and we'll just reduce the size. And we'll be increasing the length of this, and we'll be placing it over here like this. Okay, then we'll go over to gradient. We'll be assigning a black and gray color to this. So for the first one here, we'll just go over to color, and we'll select a black color, and for this other side here, we'll come over to color, and we'll select a lighter color. Okay, let's see this. Okay, so this is okay, but we just need to adjust this a little bit. Okay, so this is okay, and we'll be sending this behind the image of the man. Okay, so we'll just click on this and be sending it behind, and we'll be going over to position 2 to just take this up a little bit. Okay, and we're gradually getting there, and we'll just increase this. Okay, so this is okay for now, and we'll go ahead to layers, and we'll be locking this. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing now, okay, is to add the write up at this place here. So we'll come over to shape for the first one, and we'll be placing it over this place like this, and we'll be reducing the size, and we'll be placing this here. Then we'll come over to gradient again. We'll select the plus, and for this first one, we'll leave the color like this for now, and for this second one, we'll come over to color, and we'll be increasing the transparency like this. We'll be increasing the transparency or reducing the transparency. Okay, until we have something like this. Okay, let's see how this looks like. Okay, let's change the position of this. We want that to be sideward. Okay, Okay, let's select white for this color. We'll go over to edit and let's select white for the gradient. Okay, so now we selected white. We'll go over to edit again. We'll go over to edit to adjust the gradient, and we'll just push this forward a little bit, and let's see. Okay, this is okay. And we'll come over to opacity. We'll be reducing the opacity of this, so let's leave it as 39 for now. Okay, and we'll go over to layers to just lock it. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing now, we'll be adding the name of the salon. Okay, so we'll go over to text to add the name of the salon. Okay, let me first of all write G's, and we'll go over to fonts to select a bolder font for this, and I'll be making use of this Papers Noir regular, this down font here, and I'll click on OK. Then we'll go over to size. We'll increase the size of this image. Okay, let's leave it as 17, or let's leave it as 170 for now, and we'll go over to color. I'm making use of a gradient color. Okay, but before I add a color to this, I'll be importing the ribbon here because I'll be picking the ribbon color for this particular text. So we'll go over to import, and I'll be importing this ribbon. Okay, so now I've imported it, I'll just reduce it and I'll be placing it here for now. Then I'll go over to color filter, and I'll be reducing the hue. I'll be adjusting the hue to -6. Okay, then I'll select the text again to assign a color to it. So I'll go over to color and gradient. Okay, so for this first one, we'll just click on color and we'll click on this eye picker, and we'll select this ribbon to select the first part of the color we'll be picking, which is this. Okay, and for this other part, we'll click on color and we'll click on the eye picker. I will go again to select the other part of the color we want, which is this. Okay, so now we have something like this, and I'll just go ahead to rotate this and adjust it here. Okay, let's see how this looks like. Okay, this is okay, this is okay, and let me just adjust this for now. Let me be leaving it at this place. Okay, so we'll continue. We'll go over to shape. We'll be adding a shape to this, but before we continue before we adjust the shape, we'll zoom in and we'll add a grid lines. Okay, and we'll be editing the grid lines, so we want our design to be aligned. Okay, so let me place this here. Okay, before I continue, let me reduce this so you can see. And okay, so I want all the write up and all the shapes to start from this line I'm setting here. Okay, so I've set this like this, and I will have to adjust the other part of the design to be aligned using this line here, this grid line. Okay, so for this one, I'll just reduce it. Okay, it's going to start from here, and I will increase this side a little bit, and I'll be adjusting this place and this place. Okay, let me reduce this a little bit. Over to fill. We'll be reducing the opacity here. We'll be reducing the opacity, and we'll be increasing the stroke width to 2. Okay, and we'll select a brown color for this, or so we'll select an ash color for this. Okay, so this is the hash code of the ash color we'll be using, so you can go ahead to just copy that, and let's see how this looks like. Okay, this is okay. So now click on the initial text we've written, and I'll just adjust this until it's perfect. Okay, and it's aligned there. Okay, and I'll go ahead to just increase this shape a little bit, and I'll adjust this. Okay, so now we have something like this. Let me zoom back normally so you can see this. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing now, let me lock this first. So I'll be typing in, sorry for that, let me go to layers to lock it. I'll be typing in Barbing Salon here at this shape we created. So we'll just go ahead to type in Barbing Salon, and we'll go over to font to select the font we'll be using. Okay, so I'll be making use of these Ving fonts here, and I'll go ahead to relatives. Also, I'll go over to size, and we'll be reducing the size of this particular font to, let's leave it as 25. Then we'll use our position tool to adjust this here. Use our position tool to adjust this. Okay, and for this part of the design here, we'll be typing in this place we created. We'll be typing in the services. So I'll just go over to text to quickly add it. And we'll go over to fonts. We'll be selecting a light font for this. So we'll reduce this and we'll be placing it here. Okay, so this looks okay. Let me just go ahead to reduce the size a little bit. And we'll go over to spacing. We'll be increasing the spacing by 2, and let's increase the line spacing by 1. Okay, so this is okay here. Okay, so we want to add something like a bullet point here at every at the edge of this text. So I'll just go over to shapes and I'll introduce a circle. I'll be selecting a circle, and we'll reduce the size of this. Okay, so this size is okay. You can use your hand, or you can use the relative position. You can use the relative size to do it. So I'll just go over to color to select a color for this. Okay, let's make use of the eye picker to select a color. Okay, let me make use of this color here. Okay, so this is the hex code of the color, and we'll make use of our position tool to bring this down. Then we'll make use of relative size to just reduce this. So with the percentage, the size of this is, we'll be leaving it as 1. Okay, so you just go ahead to copy this. And add it at add it before every text. Okay, so let me quickly do that. Okay, so now I've done this, I'll be zooming in normally. Then we'll go over to layers and we'll be locking everything here. We'll be locking every element in the layers. Okay, so we've achieved something like this, and at the edge of the this design here, at the edge, we'll be adding a clipper. So we'll go over to import, and we'll be selecting a clipper. Okay, so this is the image of the clipper I downloaded. Let's add this, and we'll just go ahead to increase this, and we'll be slanting this a little bit. We'll be making use of our hand, and we'll be placing it here. Okay, and I'll go ahead to import again to add a ribbon here. We'll be adding a ribbon. Okay, and this is it. I'll just go ahead to reduce this, and I'll use my hand to increase the width like this, and we'll be placing this one over here. Okay, then we'll go over to layers and we'll be locking the image of the clipper and the ribbon. Okay, so now it's time for us to just add the details to this flyer. But before we do that, let's make sure that the ribbon, this one we imported, is aligned. So we'll introduce our grid line again, and we'll zoom in to ensure it's aligned. Okay, so it's just a meters away, so we'll just adjust this. Until it aligns to this line. Okay, and we'll zoom back normally. Okay, and we'll go over to relative size to reduce this. We'll reduce the size, and we'll just be making use of the position to adjust this. Okay, so for this background, for this shape that is having this white gradient, we'll go over to select this. We'll select this, and we'll be making use of the position tool to just take this up a little bit. Okay, then we'll go over to edit to adjust the color. We'll go over to edit to adjust the color. We'll go over to gradient, and we'll be adjusting this. We're making it darker a little bit. Okay, and this is okay, this is okay. Then we'll go over to as we were to add the details to this flyer. So I'll just go over to text to add the details. Okay, so for the location, we'll go over to select a light font for this. We'll go over to font, and we'll be selecting a very light font for this. Okay, so this is okay. We'll just click on it and we'll copy, and we'll be adding the phone number. And for the phone number, we'll just go ahead to increase the size, and we'll be selecting a different font for this. Okay, we'll be making use of a bold font. Okay, we'll leave the font like this, and we'll just go over to size to reduce this. And we'll be placing it down here. Okay, so now we have to go to specify this. We'll be specifying this by typing in location and contact us. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll first of all type in location, and we'll go over to font to select a semi-bold font for this text, and we'll be making use of this straightaway semi-bold font, this font here. And for the color, we'll be selecting the gradient color we've already created, which is this, the same one we use for the name of the salon. And we'll just go ahead to place this here for now, and we'll reduce the size. We'll reduce the size to, okay, let's leave it as 10 or 11. Then we'll use our position to just take this down. Okay, so we'll go ahead to copy this again, and we'll be making use of the position tool to bring this downward. Okay, and we'll go over to edit this, and we'll be typing in contact us. Okay, so after we've achieved something like this, after imputing the contact information, we'll be adding the lights at the side of the image. So we'll come over to shapes, and we'll be increasing the radius of the shape, or we'll go over to select a circle shape. Then we'll go ahead to add this color. We'll be making use of this color. So this is the hex code of the color. We'll click on OK, and we'll go over to increase the stroke width of this shape, and we'll be selecting the same color. Then we'll go down and we'll be increasing the blur radius to 25. Okay, so after that, we'll go over to opacity, and we'll just reduce the opacity to, let's say, 28, and we'll reduce the size of this, and we'll be placing this over here. Okay, we'll copy this again, and we'll just be placing this one somewhere here. Okay, you can copy this and just to double this for better effects. Yeah, and this is it. Okay, then we'll go over to layers, and we'll be locking everything here. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing now is we'll be adding the discount here. We'll be giving them a notice. We'll be writing the discount in this ribbon here. Okay, then we'll go over to shape. We'll go over to text. We'll be adding a text to this. Okay, let me first of all write 10%, and we'll be selecting a longer font for this. We'll go over to fonts, and we'll be selecting the same font we use for the name of the salon, which is this font here, and we'll just make use of our position to take this down. And we'll be adjusting it here until it fits into this. Okay, and we'll be changing the color to black. So we'll be changing the color to black. Okay, then we'll add the text again. So we'll just write 10% off. Okay, so for this one will be off. We'll just type in off, and we'll come over to font, and we'll be selecting a suitable font for this. Let's see. Okay, we'll be making use of this font. Let's go over to color. Be changing the color of this to black, and we'll be reducing the size of this particular text, and we'll be making use of the position tool to take this downward. Okay, so we have something like this. Let me zoom in so you can see. Then we'll go over to layers to just lock this, and this, we're done with this design. Okay, so this is how to create this barbing salon flyer on PixelLab. Thank you for watching to the end. If you gain value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.